Hi, Truth Talkers. Welcome back. Sorry it took so long, but we're here today to discuss today's topic, which is my fiance wants me to stop being friends with my ex. Pretty interesting topic for today. I'm sure everybody's going to have a lot of different opinions on it, so I'll just do my best to be unbiased and to give the best feedback I can. For those of you who are new to Truth Talks, here is where we talk openly about our stories, about life scenarios that are going on, and I offer third-party feedback based on my experience as, a mother, as a woman, as a therapist, as an artist, but it in no way or shape or form replaces your own intuition, your family, your best friend, your lover, your mother, your priest, whoever you go to for counsel. Definitely not your doctor, definitely not your mental health professional. This is just third-party feedback with the hope that we can connect through our stories and relate to each other's experiences and therefore build some compassion out there, right? So today's Truth Talk, we're going to just jump right into it because I'm excited to do it and I've been waiting a couple weeks to do it. So today's Truth Talk comes from John, and John is 38. And so here's what I received. I was recently engaged. Prior to my engagement, I dated a few women. Some of these women I maintained a friendship with after the romantic side ended. I must be honest and admit that cheating was a part of my past, and my fiance is aware of that side of my life. She is concerned that having these friendships could possibly mean I'm holding on to safety nets that I will use at times when our relationship may get rough. The question is, should past romantic partners be kept as friends? John. So we're just going to jump right in because honestly, this is a pretty sensitive topic, I think, because everybody's relationship is so different and has different arrangements or different agreements. So I'm going to make a couple assumptions here, John, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong and I apologize, but I'll do my best. One is that you are in a committed monogamous relationship. You're not in an open relationship, or else I don't think this would quite be a topic of discussion. So with that being said, and based on that criteria, so we are looking at monogamous relationships, everybody. That is what we're talking about. Relationships that have been determined, that is just you and me. There's no outside agreement with other people. So with that being said, there's a couple factors that we need to evaluate up front. And I appreciate your honesty. I mean, that really helps to me to give better feedback with you being honest about your past. So I appreciate that, and I'm sure your fiance appreciated that as well. The issue of staying friends with exes has a couple moving parts. One thing about me and the perspective of which I come from is, whenever there is something from the past that we are holding on to, I always have to wonder why. And the reason I wonder why is because the past is no longer here and it's gone, and therefore it's no longer relevant to our present. So holding on to it means there's a narrative or a story or even a person that we once were associated with holding on to that. So tapping into that past energy, that past moment, brings up past memories and feelings of who we once were. And maybe that's something we miss, maybe that's something we regret, who knows. But I definitely find that when we hold on to things, whether they're objects or people or memories from the past, that we're able to tap back into those moments and feel what we felt in those moments. And that's not always in our best interest if we are trying to be present in our present and trying to move forward with our future. It may speak to the fact that something's missing, something that we used to have, or something that maybe we had in an unhealthy context but we still miss. Either way, it definitely is worth some evaluation. It is worth looking at why is something from my past still very relevant to me. Now, in your case, you're saying that these relationships went from romantic to friendship, and so maybe what's relevant to you today in the present is the friendship aspect of it, which I get. I think that I do believe men and women can be friends. I do believe that is a healthy dynamic to have male and female friends. I do have concerns at times when lines have been crossed, when we have been romantic or intimate with someone. It is very difficult to distinguish between which of those memories we're tapping into when we tap back into that person, right? So, yeah, we may feel like we're tapping into the friendship part, but that friendship part is definitely intermingled with the romantic part. And depending on what place you're in your life, you could easily tap back into that romantic part. It's familiar, it's right adjacent to the friendship part, and we can't say that that could never happen. Now, we also can't say that you wouldn't meet somebody else and that would happen. But that's not the topic of today. Today is about specifically holding on to relationships with exes. So I think this requires of you in particular, John, first, a lot of honesty about your reasoning for holding on to these relationships. Is this really as altruistic as you want to believe it is? And is it really just about friendships? Or is it about a past that you're having difficulty letting go of, or an emotion that that person provided for you? Are there emotional deficits that you feel are in your relationship that you haven't been honest with your fiance about? And do these past friendships still tap into and meet that need? I would caution against jumping to the conclusions that, your fiance is insecure or being unreasonable, because I think what might be there is an unmet need, or just a need, just a fear, or like you mentioned, she has concerns, and so there's a need for her to feel safe and protected, and maybe she's also tapping into your past of not keeping the women in your relationship safe or protected from your decisions to have other relationships. So there's a lot there that's worth like sort of pulling apart and sifting through before you decide, are these actual friendships, or are they something else? And that's really challenging to see at times. So, one of the things I'm going to suggest is that you do what I call a diagnostic. You run a diagnostic. So, here's your diagnostic. This is what I need you to do. I need you to be very clear about your position. And what I understand your position to be is, I am in a committed relationship with the woman that I love. I do have friends with that are exes that I had relationships with in the past, and I don't want to give up those friendships. I'm with someone I love. I'm committed. That should be enough for her, and I don't want her to feel insecure about that. So what I want you to do is sit in that position that you're in right now, right? And now I want you to switch places. I want you to be the one hearing that your fiance has ex-boyfriends that she is still connected to via friendships, and that they check in every now and then, but it's no threat to you. She's with you and she loves you, and they're just friends, and that's all they're going to be. Um, Now, I want you to sit in that moment and be honest about how you're feeling, how you feel about her being connected in, and it is a connection, a friendship is a connection, to someone who knew her intimately, who's someone who might have been there during a part of her life where you weren't present, to someone who might be privy to aspects of her that you may not be, and to be honest about whether or not you feel threatened. So, what we're discussing here is not whether or not uh, we should have friendships with exes. We're discussing our partner's needs and whether or not there's validity in that feeling of being threatened, right? So, I don't want you to or her to focus on whether or not this decision is about the exes. This decision is really about how you guys are going to keep each other safe and meet each other's needs. Because clearly there's a need here, and there's a need for both of you. If there's a need for you to hold on to these friendships, that needs to be looked at. And if there's a need for her to feel safe, based on, your past, if you coped through cheating or whatever that the case may have been, there's a need for her to feel safe. And so this is really a test of your relationship on how we keep each other safe and how we keep each other healthy and how we meet each other's needs, and can we, and are we willing to, and are we able to. So my suggestion really isn't about necessarily the exes. My suggestion is about evaluating on both ends if there are emotional deficits and needs that are not being met, that um, require, or not, I shouldn't say require, that are leading you to sort of reach back for something that is no longer present. And I will say, just in my experience, oftentimes these relationships are uh, they are somewhat like safety nets. Calling in sporadically is more like checking in to see, are you single? Are you available? What's going on? Or sometimes exes tend to call each other when they're emotionally down or something's going on and they need a pick me up or an ego boost. And so it's not always the healthiest situation, but there are definitely situations where people who are divorced or separated, things like that, who have found friendships after the storm. And I think those look a little different than the type of friendships it sounds like you're talking about right now. So, my suggestion is to, as always, be really ugly honest with yourself, John, about these relationships, to evaluate whether or not they're meeting an unmet need, to consider running a diagnostic to see if your significant other is feeling something that's really valid, that you would feel if you were in her shoes, and then to see how much of those needs we can meet within the relationship, or come to a decision about how to best meet those in a compromising way. So, like, maybe there are female friends that aren't exes that are willing to be brought into the relationship and kind of be friends with the couple as opposed to friends with you individually. Maybe that's something that can be worked out. Explore it. You guys can create your own agreement or your own alternative, but I think it starts with being honest, and honest about what your needs are, and honest about what you're doing right now currently to meet those needs. So I hope that's helpful. Like I said, this is always sensitive and it's kind of relative to the relationship, but I think that you asking the right questions and seeking some outside help is a good sign that you really care about this person and you want to do the right thing. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us today on Truth Talks. I do have exciting news to share. Truth Talks will be partnering with Say Word LA. So what that means is once a month, we're going to be bringing you a Truth Talk that comes directly from someone under the age of 18. So we get to hear younger voices about the things you're going through, and we will have a Truth Talks for you once a month, specifically to deal with your concerns and your issues. And I'm really excited about it because Say Word LA is an organization that I'm very proud to be a part of, ran by Miss Kat McGill. And she's doing amazing work with poetry and youth. And I'm so excited to answer your questions as best I can. Um, thank you so much for tuning into today's Truth Talks. I promise I will not take so long to get back to you next time. And as always, I feel so honored to share your stories. And I'm giving you what I have with the best of intentions, and I hope it lands that way. And we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you. Bye.